Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to begin today with a simple question, one that has the power to shape the next 10 years of your life. And the question is this: what truly decides your future? Is it your upbringing, your education, a streak of good luck, maybe the right connections? Well, after many years of watching people rise and watching people fall, I can tell you none of those are the real deciding factors. No, the future is shaped by something far simpler and far more consistent than circumstance. It's shaped by a daily decision that every one of us makes, whether consciously or not, and that decision is this: will you follow your plan, or will you follow your feelings? That's the great dividing line. That's the point where destinies separate. Most people don't think about it. They think life is determined by big events or sudden breakthroughs. But it's not. Life is shaped by small decisions repeated over and over. And the most important of those decisions is which voice you obey. You see, your plan represents your intentions, your goals, your dreams, the blueprint you designed when your vision was clear and your mind was steady. Your feelings, on the other hand, represent the noise of the moment, the temptations, the inconveniences, the moods that shift like the wind. And the great tragedy is that most people let today's mood destroy tomorrow's possibilities. For the next little while, I want to take you deep into this principle, because if you understand it, not just hear it, but understand it, you'll begin to take control of your life in a way few people ever do. If you follow your plan, your next 10 years can be extraordinary. But if you follow your feelings, your next 10 years will simply look like your last 10. So welcome. This is the lesson that decides everything. Let me share with you how this lesson became real to me, because like many things in life, it didn't arrive in a moment of triumph, but in a moment of quiet failure. Years ago, I made a simple commitment. I would read for 1 hour every evening. Nothing dramatic, nothing heroic, just 1 hour. I had the plan written down, the books picked out, the time scheduled, 7 o'clock every night, no exceptions. Well, the first day came around and 7 o'clock showed up right on time. But when 7 o'clock arrived, I didn't feel like it. Isn't that interesting? I had the plan, I had the intention, but my feelings had a different philosophy. My feelings said, Jim, you've had a long day, you deserve to rest, the couch looks good, the television sounds pleasant, and after all, what's the harm in starting tomorrow? Now, that's the negotiation that destroys thousands of plans every day, the gentle whisper that says, not today, later, eventually. And I almost gave in. I almost traded the future I wanted for the comfort of the moment. But then something unexpected happened. A little voice inside spoke up and asked a very inconvenient question. It said, Jim, if you can't keep this promise to yourself on day 1, what makes you think you'll keep it on day 2? And I froze right there. I realized in that moment that the battle wasn't about reading. It wasn't about books. It wasn't about knowledge. It was about trust. Could I trust myself to do what I said I would do? That evening changed everything for me, because I saw the truth. My feelings were not my allies in building a better life. My feelings wanted ease. My feelings wanted comfort. My feelings wanted the pleasure of now instead of the progress of tomorrow. And if I listened to them, they would steal from me every dream I had carefully planned. That night, I chose my plan over my feelings, and that single choice became the first brick in a new foundation. It taught me one of the great lessons of life. The future belongs to those who keep promises to themselves, especially when they don't feel like it. Now let's take a closer look at this thing we call feelings, because if you misunderstand the nature of feelings, they will run your life for you and not in the direction you want. Feelings, my friends, are like the weather. They shift, they swirl, they blow in uninvited and leave without warning. One morning you wake up full of enthusiasm, ready to conquer the world. By lunchtime, someone's comment or a small inconvenience has you discouraged. Tuesday, you're on fire again. Wednesday, you're dragging your feet. Thursday, you're confident. Friday, you're exhausted. And Saturday, your feelings say, Let's do absolutely nothing. Now here's the question. Can you build a solid future on that? Of course not. You can't build a skyscraper on ground that moves every few hours. You can't construct a meaningful life on emotions that shift with the wind. That's the mistake most people make. They trust their feelings more than their plan. And that's why their life looks like the weather forecast. Cloudy some days, sunny others, unpredictable most of the time. But your plan, that's different. Your plan is architecture. It's the blueprint you designed when your mind was clear, when your vision was sharp, when you were thinking logically about the future you want to build. Your plan represents intention, purpose, direction. Feelings represent comfort, impulse, distraction. And here's the truth most people never discover. Successful people don't have more discipline than others. They simply don't make feelings the boss. They feel tired, just like you. They feel doubtful, just like you. They feel unmotivated, just like you. The difference? They don't hand their future over to a mood. They let the plan name the destination, and they treat feelings like passengers in the back seat. They can come along for the ride, but they don't get to steer. Once you understand that difference, plan versus weather, you stop letting your emotions govern your destiny. You start choosing actions based on your commitments, not your impulses. And the moment you make that shift, life begins to change in a very big way. Now, let me share with you one of the simplest ways to understand human behavior, one of those distinctions that once you see it, you'll never unsee it. In life, there are only two kinds of people, not 20, not 10, just two: drifters and designers. That's it. Drifters wake up in the morning and let the day decide what happens to them. They let circumstances dictate their direction. They wait for motivation. They wait for inspiration. They wait for the perfect moment. And while they're waiting, their life slips quietly by. Drifters follow their feelings. If they feel tired, they stay in bed. If they feel unsure, they hesitate. If they feel discouraged, they quit. And because their feelings change every day, their direction changes every day. That's why, years later, they find themselves living the same year over and over, nothing gained, nothing learned, nothing built. But designers, now that's a different story. Designers take out the blueprint of their life. Maybe not a perfect blueprint, maybe not a complete one, but a blueprint nonetheless. And they say, this is where I'm going. They understand that plans aren't made to impress anyone. They're made to guide action. Designers follow their plan. They show up when it's boring. They show up when it's inconvenient. They show up when no one is watching. They don't wait for a feeling. They create a future. And when their feelings say, let's take it easy, their plan says, not today. The difference is profound. Drifters live reactively. Designers live intentionally. Drifters live by emotion. Designers live by principle. Drifters hope. Designers decide. And here's the real truth. 10 years from now, those two people will be living in completely different worlds. One will wonder where the time went. The other will look back with gratitude at every disciplined day that built the foundation of their success. The question is, and it's not a small question, which one are you becoming? Now let's talk about something most people never connect with: discipline economics. Yes, there is an economics to your habits, just as real as the economics of money. And once you understand this, it changes the way you see every small choice you make. You see, every time you keep a promise to yourself, you make a deposit in what I like to call the bank of self-trust. And every time you break a promise, every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, every time you let your feelings vote against your future, you make a withdrawal. And let me tell you something important. Those deposits and withdrawals compound. Just like money in the marketplace, discipline grows with interest. And inconsistency, well, inconsistency charges interest too, but in the wrong direction. Following your plan produces a beautiful kind of compounding. One disciplined day doesn't mean much, but one disciplined day multiplied by 30, then 100, then 1,000, that becomes a powerful force. That becomes confidence. That becomes momentum. That becomes character. But following your feelings also produces compounding, just not the kind you want. A skipped workout here, a postponed habit there, a broken commitment just this once, and suddenly you've built a pattern. You've reinforced an identity. You've taught yourself not to trust yourself. And here's the cost of that. Every time you quit and try again later, you pay what I call the restart penalty. Restarting costs you energy. Restarting costs you time. Restarting costs you belief. Some people spend years of their life paying restart penalties because their feelings keep pulling them off the path. And here's another truth that's tough but necessary. The marketplace doesn't care how you feel. Your customers don't care if you felt lazy. Your health doesn't care if you felt unmotivated. Your bank account doesn't care if you felt discouraged. The marketplace rewards results, not emotions. The marketplace pays you for consistency, and it punishes you for unreliability. So the question becomes, are you making deposits or withdrawals? Are you building interest or paying penalties? Are you compounding discipline or compounding regret? 10 years from now, the answer to those questions will determine nearly everything about your life. And it all begins with one daily decision. Follow the plan or follow the feeling. Now let me take you into one of the great philosophies of life, one that explains why so many people begin with enthusiasm but end in disappointment. Life, as surely as nature itself, moves in seasons. And if you don't understand the seasons, you'll misunderstand your own progress. You'll quit at the wrong time, doubt yourself unnecessarily, and abandon your plan just when it's about to produce fruit. There is a season for planting, a season for tending, and a season for harvesting, and each requires its own discipline. The planting season is where most people lose heart. Why? Because planting requires work, and from the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. You put the seed in the ground, you water it, you care for it, but the ground does not reveal its progress. Growth is happening, but it's happening where you cannot see it. And this is where feelings love to sabotage you. Your feelings whisper, why are you working so hard on something that isn't giving you anything back? They say, this is pointless. This is slow. This isn't working. And many people listening to those feelings dig up their own seed. They stop reading. They stop exercising. They stop saving. They stop building the discipline long before the results have a chance to appear. Then comes the tending season. This is the season of consistency, the season where the small daily disciplines matter more than ever. You water the seed, you protect it, you pull the weeds, and still the results may be small. This is the season where boredom sets in, where repetition tests your commitment, and your feelings will whisper again, you've done enough, take a break, skip a day, ease up a little. But remember this, your future never asks for your feelings, it asks for your consistency. And then, if you stay the course, comes the harvest season, the season of reward, the season where all the invisible growth becomes visible. This is where the results appear seemingly all at once, though they were built slowly, patiently, daily. But here is the tragedy. Most people never make it to the harvest. They quit in the dark. They quit during the planting. They quit during the tending. They quit because their feelings told them a lie at the most vulnerable moment. And the lie was this, it's not worth it. My friends, the harvest is always worth it, but it's only available to those who do not abandon their plan during the unseen stages of growth. Stay faithful to the season you're in, and the season will be faithful to you. Now let's explore one of the most powerful truths in personal development, one that very few people ever realize. And the truth is this. Your identity is not who you are, it's what you repeatedly do. Most people try to change their life by changing their thinking. Now, thinking is important, no question. But thinking alone will not rewrite your identity. You don't become confident by wishing for confidence. You don't become consistent by hoping for consistency. You don't become disciplined by imagining discipline. Identity does not change through intention. Identity changes through evidence. You must give yourself proof that when you say you'll do something, you do it. Proof that when you make a commitment, you keep it. Every time you follow your plan instead of your feelings, you cast a vote for the kind of person you want to become. There are really only two identities a person can build. The first says, I don't follow through. I quit when I'm tired. I negotiate with myself. I bend my rules whenever it's convenient. And if you cast votes for that identity long enough, you won't need motivation to fail. You'll fail automatically because your actions have taught you who you are. But the second identity is far more valuable. It says, when I say I'll do it, I do it. When I make a promise to myself, I keep it. When I create a plan, I honor it. I follow through whether I feel like it or not. And if you cast votes for that identity long enough, you won't need motivation to succeed. You'll succeed automatically because your actions will have taught you that you can trust yourself. You see, self-confidence is not built by looking in the mirror and repeating positive affirmations. Self-confidence is built by observing yourself, keep the commitments you made. Discipline becomes easier when you start to see yourself as a disciplined person. Consistency becomes natural when you have proof that you show up. The key is to start with small promises. Promises so small you can keep them even on your worst day because you're not building the habit, you're building the identity. And once identity shifts, the battle changes. You stop trying to act disciplined. You simply act like the person you know you are. Identity is the root. Behavior is the fruit. And your plan, not your feelings, is what waters that root daily. Now, let's turn this philosophy into something practical because it's one thing to understand the battle between your plan and your feelings, and it's another thing entirely to win that battle day after day. Knowing what to do is academic. Doing it, especially when the feelings rise up, is where life actually changes. And the first key is this: start small. Most people try to change their whole life on a Monday morning. They attempt a total transformation in one big dramatic sweep. And of course, it feels good for a day or two until the feelings show up and say, this is too much. And then the whole plan collapses. Don't fall into that trap. Transformation begins with one simple, measurable, unbreakable promise to yourself. Small enough to do on your best day, your worst day, your tired day, your discouraged day. Maybe it's 10 minutes of reading. Maybe it's a short walk. Maybe it's writing down 3 ideas. The content doesn't matter. The commitment does. Then you make that promise measurable, clear, no wiggle room, no sort of, no almost, no I did a little bit. Either you did it or you didn't. Feelings love wiggle room. They thrive on ambiguity. They negotiate. But a measurable promise has no negotiating table. And once you've chosen that small, clear promise, the next step is what I call the 30-day rule. Keep that promise for 30 days straight, no exceptions. Not 27 days, not 29, 30. Why? Because you're not just building the habit, you're building self-trust. You're proving to yourself that your word means something. And when your word means something to you, your entire life changes. Next comes your environment. Willpower is a wonderful thing, but it's weak compared to environment. If your environment supports your plan wins. If your environment supports your feelings win. It's that simple. So you design the space around you to make the plan easy and the distractions difficult. You place the book on the table. You lay out your workout clothes. You remove the temptations you know will call your name. This isn't weakness, it's strategy. Now, when your feelings rise up, and they will, you use a simple tool. I call it the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move. Don't think. Don't negotiate. Don't analyze. Just interrupt the feeling and step into action. Action first. Feelings later. And finally, add a touch of accountability. Not for applause, not for judgment, but for honesty. Find someone else who's trying to follow a plan instead of their emotions, and check in daily. One sentence. Did you keep your promise today? That's all. You'd be amazed how powerful that simple question becomes. And above all, master your mornings. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Wake up and follow your plan immediately, before feelings have a chance to campaign against your future. Because if you can win the morning, you can win the day. And if you can win enough days in a row, you can win your life. This method isn't complicated. It's not flashy, but it works. And if you practice it daily, feelings will lose their authority, and your plan will take the wheel where it belongs. And now, my friends, we arrive at the final thought, the thought that brings all of this together and places the responsibility squarely where it belongs. With you, 10 years from now, you will arrive. That much is guaranteed. 10 years will pass whether you plant or not, whether you tend or not, whether you follow your plan or your feelings. The real question is not, will you arrive? The question is, where will you arrive and who will you have become when you get there? That answer will not be determined by luck or circumstance. It will not be determined by the government or the economy. It will not be determined by your friends, your enemies, or your environment. It will be determined by one daily decision. Which voice did you follow, your plan or your feelings? If your feelings run the show, your life will reflect the instability of those feelings. You'll have good days and bad days, but no real progress. You'll have excitement without achievement and intention without results. You'll live in circles, always starting, always stopping, never compounding, never harvesting. But if your plan runs the show, if your plan becomes the guiding authority of your days, then your life will reflect the stability, the clarity, the purpose, and the strength of that plan. Your habits will compound, your identity will elevate, your confidence will grow, your opportunities will multiply. And one day, perhaps quietly, perhaps suddenly, you'll look around and realize, I built this one disciplined day at a time. So as you go forward, I want you to carry one simple question, a question powerful enough to rewrite the next decade of your life. Ask it in the morning, ask it in the evening, ask it whenever you feel the pull of comfort or the whisper of excuse. And the question is this: who is in charge of my life today, my plan or my feelings? Answer that question wisely, and your future will unfold the way you designed it, not the way your emotions dictated it. Because the truth is simple: feelings may color your day, but your plan builds your life. And if you choose your plan consistently, deliberately, faithfully, you will arrive somewhere remarkable.